Hello! In today's video, I will be using a robot to cut my lawn. What am I on about? Find out after I've said, roll titles! Are you sick and tired of wandering up and down your lawn, mowing it with a lawnmower like some sort of peasant? Well, do that no more with this. And this is the Anthbot Pion Robotic Lawnmower. I must admit, ever since we've had a back garden and had a lawn, I've always wanted one of these, largely because, well, I'm lazy, to be completely honest with you. Will this actually save me work? Will it save me time? And will it cut the lawn nicely? Well, we'll find out all of that in this video. There are many brands of robotic lawnmower available. This one is from Anthbot, and yeah, it seems to get pretty good reviews and write-ups online, so I'm hoping this will be the answer to my prayers. But there's only one way to find out about that, and that's unbox it. But before I do that, let me tell you a little bit more about this particular lawnmower. Now, it retails at around about £500, and this particular model uses a boundary wire to dictate how it moves around the garden. You have to lay a wire around where you want it to go, and it will cut in that area. There do seem to be two types of sort of robotic lawnmower. You get ones that use boundary wires and ones that use sensors and things like that. This particular one uses a boundary wire. And I guess that's helpful if you want it to sort of be very specific in the areas that it mows and it doesn't mows. But it does mean that there is an extra bit of setup time because you've got to lay the boundary wire, which I'll show you later on in this video. And another thing about robot lawnmowers that you might not know is they don't tend to have grass collectors on them like a traditional lawnmower. The idea with these robot lawnmowers is they cut your lawn little and often, so they're only taking a small amount of grass off each time. And apparently those little tiny bits of grass fall into the soil and sort of help with the growing process or something like that. I'm not a gardener, as you'll probably find very quickly. But yeah, that's the general idea. It's just taking small amounts of grass off every so often rather than waiting 2 or 3 weeks and chopping a load of it off. But because it is robotic, you can control it all through an app and have schedules, and it even senses when it's raining and it will go back to its station and wait until the rain has stopped. There's lots of different options, but we'll get into that a little bit further on. Now, talking about getting into things, I guess we need to get into this box. But before I do that, make sure you hit like on this video and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I'm on the path to 20,000 subscribers, and it would be awesome to have you along with me on this journey. Right, let's get into the box. Hi, pleased to meet you. I'm Anthbot. Nice to meet you too. Aha. This is our ruler. We need to keep hold of this. We'll use this later. Okay, so we've got our operator's manual and we've got our quick start guide. Right, these look like our ground pins that secure the base to the ground. And these are our pegs that hold the boundary wire down. So this is our power cable and transformer. I'm not entirely sure the transformer is waterproof, so bear that in mind, but the cable is indeed waterproof. There we go, so we've got our boundary wire here. There's 180 meters of it, which should be absolutely perfect for this garden. I mean, I think you could probably do a lot bigger garden with 180 meters of wire, but that's good. Right. Wow. Okay. Oh, hang on, there's a few extra little bits here. Oh, okay, so we've got some ground screws, and we've also got some little connector guys that you use if the cable is broken. I'll talk about broken cable shortly. Right, let's get this bad boy out of the box. Whoa. That is heavy. Right, and then in the rest of the box, we've just got our base station for it. Now this is the base station and essentially our robot's home. And it's important that you pay attention to how you align this, because the inside edge needs to be on the mowing side, and this edge needs to be on the sort of not grass side, because it sort of comes out and turns off that way. So I guess for my lawn, I'm going to have it this way round, and it will come out and turn off and go round like that. But I think what I'm going to do to get this installed is I'm actually only going to set it up so it's mowing half the garden. So it gives us a bit of a comparison between one side and the other as to how it cuts. I'm not entirely sure where its final position will be, but we can just set a little something up for demo purposes, I guess. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm going to get this packaging cleared away and then we can start getting it installed. Right, here it is out of the box and on its docking station. Vicky came out and said it does look like a Range Rover Evoque, and I don't disagree with that. It really does. So if we look at the top here, we've got a big emergency stop button that you can hit just in case it's running over your cat or something. And then we've got the mow button, we've got the on-off button, and then the home button. We'll have a little play with those in a bit. And also this bit here is actually the rain sensor. So if it senses rain on this bit, that's what makes it head home and sort of get out of the rain, because you don't really want it chopping up soggy, wet grass. And I think it pauses for 3 hours after the rain has stopped, and then we'll carry on again if you want it to. So let's have a little look underneath. So this is our cutting blade. So this is essentially spinning round and these bits of metal are just chopping. You set the cut height in the app, so that's all app controlled, so you can adjust the height of it. And yeah, it's got these big rubber wheels on the back of it and then these sort of spinny plasticky wheels on the front. Oh, bit of packaging there. Yeah, I'm pretty certain in the box we've got some replacement blades to fit should these become blunt, which is always handy. And I think this down here is the battery. Now, how it works with the battery is it obviously knows its own battery life. So if it knows that it doesn't have enough to do the full lawn, it will actually mow what it can, head back to charge, and then come back out again when the battery is fully charged, which is super smart. So yeah, that's the general look around the robot. Now it does detect objects and I think should move around them, but you can't run this without the boundary wire because the boundary wire essentially tells it where its home is. So if you just let this go feral and go around the garden, it'll have no way of getting back to where the base is. I think one of the first things you have to do is map out the lawn and everything in the app, and it knows where home is and it can head back here safely. So yeah, we need to install the base and then we need to install the boundary wire. I just double checked and you actually have to have 1.5 meters from the front and the back of straight wire, and that has to be clear for this. Now the boundary wire does have certain set distances. It should be away from different obstacles like paths and walls and fences, and I'll pop on the screen now a little graphic that explains exactly what those distances are and how it all works. So let's just look at this kind of example garden here. So like I said, you need 1.5 meters at the front and the back of the docking station. And where you've got sort of paths and things like that that are kind of level with the grass, you need to keep the wire 10 centimeters away from those. And if you've got any pools or ponds in your garden, you need to keep the wire 75 centimeters away from those. Where you've got obstacles that are sort of relatively small, that are below 5 centimeters in height, you need to keep the wire 30 centimeter away from those. And obstacles that are higher than 5 centimeters, so fences or even the house, you need to keep the wire 35 centimeters away. So where you've got sort of areas like this where the wires need to run parallel, you need to keep them 20 centimeters apart. And then finally up here, if you've got a sort of narrow passageway, a bit like this, then the wires need to be at least 60 centimeters apart. So yeah, that's roughly how you would lay out your boundary wire depending on your situation. Now, for obvious reasons, the base station does need to be screwed down extremely well, and it's got 2 different types of screws to do that. So first off, we've got 2 of these long metal rods, and they go at the back here on either side. And then we've got these smaller plastic screws that there are 4 of, and they go into the 4 corners of the base unit. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is get this fixed into the ground, and then we can start thinking about running our boundary wire. There we go, we're in. I actually used one of the pegs to make holes for these plastic guys because they're not particularly strong, and I just used the metal peg to hammer in a bit just to break up the ground a little bit. Now, I did have a problem with that plastic guy at the end. He just won't go in, and I don't want to break it. But this feels pretty stable, so I'm pretty confident that we should be okay. Right, so now we need to run our wire along here and out into the lawn. So let's do that. So yeah, there's our wire threaded through, and there's our little bit of slack which will go through that hole and then round into the back. So now it's just a case of banging in a lot of pegs and laying out the boundary wire to go from the front of the unit to the back of the unit. So you have to leave 75 centimeters between each peg, and because the pathway and patio that go around the lawn are the same height as the grass, I'm just leaving a 10 centimeter gap from those edges. All of this is measured with the handy cardboard ruler that comes in the box. You know, you get the idea and you can sort of see what I'm doing, but obviously everyone's garden is different and how you lay out your boundary wire will be different too. Now, while you watch me banging from a great height, sped up, I should shout out our awesome channel members. Now, essentially channel members are people who help financially support this channel. I've been sent this lawnmower by the lovely people at Anthbot, but I have to usually buy pretty much everything you see on my videos, so the financial support of the channel members is invaluable. If you want to join and become a channel member and get a shout out in videos, then you can either join via Patreon, Facebook or YouTube, and I'll stick a link to all of those in the video description. So first up, we've got our Kip fans, who are Matt Lovies, JRC Electrical, For the Burbs, Wayne Cornish, Mike Cass, Rob Lynn, Scott Made a Thing, Michael Wood, Draco MacGyver, Rebecca, Tom Wood and Chelsea B. Then you have to get up really early to beat the Kip early birds, who are Dean Ball, Sean at Cablesmith Electrical, Tim Salt, Sorcerer Stan and Mark C. And oh my word, I love these guys so much. I want to kiss their lovely little faces, and they are the Kip lovers, and they are Bella Webster, Stestics Fix, Lawrence, Scott Kendall and Props Retrofix. And these guys are as nutty as a flipping fruitcake. They are our Kip nutters, and they are the gorgeous Becky Boobar and the incredibly handsome Alan Green. Thank you so much guys for your top tier support, and big love to all my other channel members. Anyway, it looks like I've finished pegging, so let's get back into the video. So now we've got the wire going around the garden, we need to fix it to the base station. So to do that, we take off the back cover, and underneath that we've got 2 spring terminals. We've got a red one and we've got a black one. Now the wire that we put through the base station at the start, that needs to have about a centimetre of wire stripped off and then put into the black spring terminal. And then we need to get the other end of the wire that's been all around the garden and strip off about a centimetre of that and put that into the red spring terminal. Then we've got the power connector that is coming out the back of the base station. This is all low voltage, so it's perfectly safe, and we have to connect in one end of the wire and screw it up nice and tight so the water doesn't get into it. It only goes one way, so yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And then the other end of the wire goes into the transformer block, which has the plug on it. Obviously you need to keep the plug nice and dry because that side of it is high voltage. So it comes out of the mains plug at mains voltage, goes through to the transformer and is knocked down to a low voltage, which powers the base unit and charges the lawnmower. Once that's all plugged in, we're pretty much ready to go. Now, something I did see in the manual about this is it doesn't like temperatures of below freezing. So if the weather's consistently going to be below 0, then it recommends you take this and the base station inside until the weather warms up. This is waterproof, but obviously it does have its limits and you don't want to destroy the battery. So now we've got our wire connected and our power connected, we can actually start to use this. And to do that, we're going to set it up into the app. Now it's already switched on. You turn it on by pressing and holding the power button for 3 seconds. So in theory, we should now be able to add it to the app. So there's a QR code in the manual to download the app. It's available for Apple and Android. And I'm in the app now, and I'll make sure you can see it on the screen. So we need to add device. Make sure the device is turned on and the mobile phone is near the device. Yes, it is. So it's searching for the device now. It uses Bluetooth to talk to this for the time being. And then once it's done that, it will connect to my home's 2.4G Wi-Fi. If you don't have Wi-Fi that reaches out to where you're mowing, it does have a sort of access point mode. But yeah, we're just connecting this to my home Wi-Fi. So it's found the device, excellent. So it's got my password for my Wi-Fi all ready to go. I have to cover my screen so you can't see that. So if we press connection, oh, it's doing a beep. It's now connected to the app. We can give the device a name. Let's just call it Muncher for now. So yeah, that's it set up in the app. That's pretty cool. So let's press on the up here. Now here in the app, you can set a schedule for when you want it to mow. I'm not going to do that yet. I will do that eventually. But yeah, that's fine. Oh, we can alter the cutting height. Oh, the mower is locked. Please enter the pin code on the mower's screen. Oh, okay, so the pin code to start with, the default one is 000. So it's all set up for that already. So if we just press OK, that enters it effectively. There we go. Oh, it knows the time as well. Excellent. Right, so now if we go into the cutting height, there we go. We can alter the cutting height of the cut. So it goes down as low as 30 millimeters and as high as 70 millimeters. I think we'll keep it at a nice even 50 for now. Excellent. Rain and snow perception. Ah, there you go. After the rain sensing is turned on, the equipment will stop working in rainy days to prevent accidents. So you can set it also so the time that it takes to restart after the rain has finished, you can change that time. It's set at 3 hours at the moment. So that's fine. Excellent. Cool. So I think we're ready to go. But what that means is I have to move that camera because the camera is where the lawnmower will ultimately end up going. Get the camera out of harm's way and we can start mowing and see how it does. So let's do that. Right, well, I think everything should be in place now. The wind is buffering my cameraman slightly, but I'm sure it'll be okay. Right, so let's press start and see what it does. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it says that it's mapping. It says that in the top left corner. So I think it's just sort of finding its feet, as it were. This is so cool. And he's off. Right, I tell you what I'll do is I'll take the camera up and you can watch what he's doing from the sky. So he's currently trundling around the edge of the boundary and it's mapping out on my phone as we speak. It's following the line really well. This is so cool. Now it's not doing any cutting at the moment, it's just purely mapping so it knows where it should cut. Yeah, it's just cutting across the lawn, that's amazing. It's hit the boundary wire. It knows to turn around and come back. That's so cool. It's so smart how you can see in real time how it's cutting. It's all in the app and it's all on your screen. amazing. Right, I tell you what, I'm going to leave it to do its thing and go get a cup of tea, because that is the beauty of a robot lawnmower. It just does it for you. So yeah, I'm going to go inside. So while I've been making a cup of tea, it's done 32%, which is great. I think maybe I need to set the height a little bit lower. Yeah, I think the height needs to drop a bit, but it's good to see how it works. I'm going to stand in front of it now and see what it does. What's it going to do? What's it going to do? Oh, hang on. Oh no, there we go. Didn't like that very much. Well, the drone ran out of power and had to land, but you saw what it was doing. It was cutting the lawn really nicely. Now what it's actually doing now is it seemed to be going back to front to start with, and then it went back to the base and then came back out and started going from left to right, and that's what it's doing at the moment. So it's meant to give it, the grass, I guess, some kind of crisscross effect. Now obviously the grass isn't really at the kind of length or the condition where you'd actually see that, but you know, I reckon maybe next year I'm gonna invest a bit of time and effort into making the lawn look a bit better. But it's definitely cutting really nicely. I think maybe we need to drop it down a bit, but you can definitely smell the cut grass, and yeah, it's just happy pootling around, and I'm very happy with it pootling around. Now it is actually super quiet. You might be able to hear the sound of a lawnmower in the background, but that's not actually this. That's someone else mowing their lawn. Anyway, the boundary wire system seems to work beautifully well, and it's keeping nicely in it. So that is good. Now I think what I'm going to do, rather than end the video here, is I'm going to set a schedule with it and get it to cut the lawn like every other day or something, and we can come back in maybe like a week or so's time and compare the two sides of the lawn, the side that it's worked on and the side that's just been left to grow and be all feral maybe. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. So join me back in a week or so, but it'll be a couple of seconds for you.
Okay, so it's Saturday morning, it's just before 10 AM, and our little guy is about to start his first scheduled mow. So this is like the second cut of the grass. No, actually it's the third cut of the grass, because the second time I sent it round not long after I'd finished filming the video on the 40mm grass cutting height, so it was a little bit lower. Yeah, bang on schedule. I did have a little cursory glance into the garden before he started, just to ensure that Dougie hadn't left any surprise packages for him. But I think we're okay. Cool. Well, that seemed to work perfectly. Anyway, on with the video.
Well, I'm now about a week into owning the Anthbot Pion Robot Lawnmower, and to be honest, it's all gone very well. I set up a schedule within the app, and the robot has been going out and mowing the lawn according to that schedule. Let me show you a difference between the area that the robot has been working in versus the area that it hasn't. So this is the sort of half of the lawn that the robot has been cutting, and it's all pretty much a consistent height. We've obviously got some areas where the grass is a bit patchy, but it's done a really good job. Now if we look here where the lawn hasn't been mowed, well, yeah, it's quite clear that it's grown a fair bit. And if we head over here towards the decking as well. Now this all started at the same height. My only small annoyance is here by the base. And yeah, it doesn't seem to go right up to the edge of the base, which is frustrating. So we do have this sort of longer patch here where it's not cut it properly. Now, I must admit, I did think that having the boundary wire would be a bit of a pain in the butt, but it's actually been all right. Once it's set out and in the way you want it, you don't really notice it. And I think once the grass has sort of grown to a more consistent level, it would probably sort of disappear into the grass. Now, something that is cool about this particular lawnmower is that if the boundary wire is broken in any way, it can actually tell you where the break is based on the mapping that it's done, which I think is absolutely awesome. If you've got a really big garden and the wire break could be, well, literally along hundreds of meters of cable, you'd be stuffed. But this tells you exactly where the wire break is, which is very smart. I guess it uses some sort of resistance in the cable to work out where it's broken. Very clever. Also, I mentioned earlier about it cutting in one direction and then cutting in the other direction. That is actually changeable in the app. You can either have it doing a crisscross or just straight runs in either direction. Again, love that. That's really good. So going forwards, I think I'm actually going to get the boundary wire to go completely around the garden and have it mow everything. I'll probably set the base station somewhere else that's slightly out of view, because it's very much in your eye line when you look out into the garden, and we might be able to tuck it around the shed or something like that. But obviously that doesn't work very well for showing you on video. The rain sensor on it has worked really well. We've had quite a few rainy days recently, and it's been sort of not going out to schedule because it's been too wet. But when the rain has stopped and time has passed, it has gone out as planned. So yeah, it's all very smart and I would definitely recommend it. And if you're interested in one of these, I'll actually put a link in the description, and I should be able to get you some money off as well. Yeah, so click on the link in the description and hopefully I can get you the best price on this. But I'm very happy that I have now got a robot lawnmower, and it will save me a little bit of work. I mean, obviously we're going into the winter months, so the lawn doesn't need mowing as much, but it's just one less job to do, and this actually does it pretty well. So yeah, I'd consider that product a success, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video too. If you have, make sure you give it a like. But no, I don't have anything else to say, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but for now, it's game over.